Hello, my wonderful students. Welcome to Mr. English Lab. Today's lesson is not just another English class. It's something more powerful, a message your past self needed to hear long ago, and your future self is hoping you finally understand right now. Today, we're going to talk about something very important, something many people forget when life becomes difficult. But if you truly understand it today, it can completely change the way you live your life. Have you ever sat quietly and listened to people speak English around you and felt that small spark inside? That little voice that whispers, "I wish I could speak like that." Maybe you're watching a movie. Maybe you're sitting in a classroom. Or maybe you're alone, scrolling through videos, hearing fluent voices that sound so natural, so free, so full of confidence. And then you look at yourself and think, why not me? That's where it all begins, not with grammar books, not with vocabulary lists, not even with teachers. It begins with a small decision inside you. I want to speak English fluently. But what does it really mean to be fluent? Many people think fluency means speaking fast. But that's not true. Fluency means flow. It means your thoughts and your words move together smoothly, like a quiet river that keeps going without stopping. It doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be natural. And you can reach that flow, step by step, by changing small things in how you listen, how you think, and how you speak every day. I remember one of my students, Mia. She was quiet, shy, and afraid to make mistakes. Every time I asked her to speak, she looked down, smiled nervously, and said, "My English is not good." But one day, something changed. She told me, "I'm tired of waiting. I want to speak English now, even if it's not perfect." And that was the beginning of her journey to fluency, not when she learned a new word, but when she made that simple, powerful choice. So right now, I want you to think about your moment. Maybe today is that moment. Maybe you are sitting here, listening to my voice, and somewhere inside you, a small voice is saying, "Yes, I want this. I want to speak freely. I want to understand easily. I want English to feel like a friend." Take a deep breath. Smile a little. You are already on your way. Fluency begins with one emotion: curiosity. When you are curious, your mind opens. You begin to notice sounds, patterns, and feelings in English. You start to feel the language instead of trying to translate it. For example, when you hear someone say, "What's up?" you don't think, "What does that mean in my language?" You just understand the mood, the rhythm, the friendliness in it. You feel that it's casual, relaxed, and your brain slowly learns the emotional sound of English. So today, as you listen, I want you to listen differently. Don't listen like a student. Listen like a friend. Imagine English as a person, a kind, patient friend who wants to talk to you. Sometimes you understand, sometimes you don't. But your friend never leaves. Your friend keeps talking. And slowly, you start to understand more. That's the secret. Fluency is not built in silence. It's built in connection. Many learners think they must study grammar for years before they can speak well. But real English fluency comes from practice, from real listening and speaking, from using simple English every single day. You don't need to speak like a native speaker. You just need to speak like yourself in English. You need to find your natural rhythm. Now imagine this. It's morning. You're walking to work or school. You put your earphones in. You hear a soft English voice, maybe a podcast, maybe a YouTube video like this one. The voice is slow, clear, calm. As you listen, you repeat small phrases under your breath. "How are you today?" "I'm doing well." "That's interesting." You're not studying, you're simply living English. You're breathing it. And that's how your brain starts to connect English to your daily life. Here's something many people don't realize. When you listen to English every day, even just for 10 minutes, your brain begins to think in English automatically. You may not notice it, but after a few weeks, you'll start to remember words faster. You'll begin to reply more naturally. You'll feel less nervous. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first, it's hard, but once your balance grows, you stop thinking about every move. You just ride. There will be days when you feel stuck. Maybe you forget a word, or you make a small mistake. Maybe someone laughs or corrects you. That's okay. Every fluent speaker has walked through that same road. Mistakes are not your enemy, they're your teachers. Every time you make one, your brain learns something new. Let me tell you a small story. Once, a student named Leo was practicing with me. He wanted to say, "I have been here for 2 years," but he said, "I am here since 2 years." He looked embarrassed. I smiled and said, "Good. You made a mistake." He looked confused. I told him, "Now you will never forget the right way again." And he laughed. You see, when you make a mistake and notice it, your brain remembers that emotion, and that emotion helps you learn faster. So don't fear mistakes. Use them. Think of every English sentence as a small bridge. The first time you cross it, you may walk slowly, step by step. But after a while, it feels easy. And then, you look back and realize you are not the same person who started. You've grown. So, what's the first step toward fluency? Listening. Real, natural listening. When you listen every day, not just to lessons, but to voices, stories, and emotions, your brain begins to hear patterns. You learn the sound of real conversation. You start to predict what comes next. You begin to feel grammar instead of memorizing it. The second step is imitation, repeating what you hear. Not just words, but sounds, rhythm, and tone. For example, when you hear someone say, "That's amazing," don't just read the text. Listen to the emotion in their voice. Try to copy it. Feel how the mouth moves. Let your body join the language. That's how real fluency is born, not from books, but from your body, your ears, your breath. Sometimes, you may feel tired. You may think it's too hard. But remember, every fluent person you admire once felt exactly like you. They once forgot words. They once froze in conversation. But they kept going. They kept listening. They kept speaking little by little until English became their comfort zone. I want you to remember one truth: you don't have to be perfect to be fluent. You just have to be connected. When you can express yourself and understand others, even with simple words, that's fluency. When your heart can travel through your words, that's fluency. So, as you listen to this story, let's make a small promise together. No more fear. No more, "My English is bad." From now on, say, "My English is growing." Every word you speak, every sound you listen to, every time you repeat, you're growing. You are not just learning English. You are becoming someone new. Someone who can connect with the world with confidence and curiosity. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself 1 year from now, speaking clearly, naturally, without fear. You're talking to a new friend from another country. You're laughing. You're listening and responding without thinking too much. It feels light, easy, joyful. That future is waiting for you. And it starts here, in this very moment, with your decision to keep listening, to keep speaking, to keep going. So let's begin this journey together, slowly, gently, and naturally. You don't have to rush. You just have to show up. You just have to listen, feel, and repeat. Because every small step you take in English will lead you to big change. Every day, you wake up and do so many small things: brushing your teeth, making breakfast, checking your phone, walking to school or work, sitting on the bus, scrolling through messages. What if I told you that every one of those moments could become part of your English journey? You don't need a special classroom, a new book, or an expensive course. You only need one thing: to make English part of your daily life. Let's start simple. When you wake up in the morning, your mind is fresh. Instead of picking up your phone to check messages in your own language, try this. Say a few small English sentences out loud. You can say, "Good morning. How are you today?" Then answer yourself, "I'm feeling good." I'm ready for a new day. These short phrases may seem small, but they create magic. They tell your brain, hey, English is part of my world. You see, fluency doesn't grow from long, stressful study hours. It grows from small, natural connections, moments when you use English without fear. Imagine English as a plant. If you water it just a little every day, it grows beautifully. But if you try to pour all the water at once and then ignore it for a week, it doesn't survive. The same is true with learning. Consistency is stronger than perfection. When you make English part of your routine, it stops feeling like a subject. It starts feeling like a language that belongs to you. For example, when you cook, you can say what you're doing in English. I'm cutting the vegetables. I'm boiling the water. I'm adding salt. You don't have to be correct all the time, you just have to stay connected. Even 10 minutes of real, simple English a day can change your brain. Let me share something that one of my students, Amir, once told me. He said, I always wanted to speak English, but I didn't have time. My job keeps me busy. So, I started doing something small. I changed the language on my phone to English. At first, it was confusing. He didn't know what settings, notifications, or privacy meant. But after 2 weeks, he could understand everything without translating. His eyes and brain started reading English naturally. It became part of his world. And that's what I want for you. I want English to stop being a subject you study and start being the language you live in. Think about the time you spend on your phone every day, maybe 1 hour, maybe more. You don't have to stop using it. Just make small changes. Follow English-speaking creators. Listen to songs in English. Watch short videos with subtitles. Repeat small parts that you like. When you hear a line you love, say it out loud. Feel how it sounds. Try to copy the emotion, not just the words. That's how your mouth learns the shape of English. Many people say, I don't have time to practice. But the truth is you have time, you just haven't noticed it yet. Every small, quiet moment can become practice time. When you're walking, you can describe what you see in English. There's a red car. The sky looks cloudy. That dog is cute. You can even think in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is to make English part of your thoughts, your voice, your daily rhythm. Sometimes, when you're alone, try shadowing. That means listening and speaking at the same time. Play a short clip, maybe from this channel, and repeat after the speaker. Don't stop if you make mistakes. Just flow with the voice. This trains your brain to react quickly. It builds natural rhythm and helps you feel the timing of real conversation. Let's imagine a small example together. You're on the bus and you're listening to this video. The person next to you is scrolling on their phone, maybe half asleep. But you're doing something powerful. You're training your ear, your mouth, and your confidence. You listen to a sentence. How are you today? You quietly repeat, how are you today? You listen again, and you notice the small rise in the voice, the friendly tone. You copy it. You smile to yourself. You're not studying, you're connecting. That's the difference. When you do this often, something amazing happens. Your brain starts to recognize patterns automatically. You stop translating. You stop thinking too much. You just understand. You just speak. Now, let's talk about another habit, journaling. Every night before bed, write just 2 or 3 sentences in English. Don't worry about grammar or spelling. Just write about your day. Today was busy. I talked to my friend. I watched a funny video. That's enough. Over time, those small sentences become your story in English. You'll start to see progress, not from tests, but from your own words. Another idea is to talk to yourself in English. I know it might sound funny, but it's one of the best fluency habits in the world. When you're alone, talk to yourself like you're talking to a friend. What should I cook today? Oh, I forgot my keys. I'm late again. It may sound small, but this is real speaking practice. No fear, no judgment, no pressure. And slowly, your thoughts and words will move in English naturally. And here's a secret. When you use English in your daily habits, you're training your emotional memory. That means English becomes connected to your real life, your laughter, your feelings, your stories. That's why it becomes natural. You're not just learning from a book, you're learning from living. Let's go deeper. Every day, your mind listens to your own voice more than any other. So the more you speak English aloud, even softly, the faster you grow. You don't need to wait for someone to talk to you. You can be your own speaking partner. For example, if you're walking home, you can say, "The weather is nice today." If you make a mistake, smile and fix it. "No, the weather is nice today." That's learning in real time. That's fluency training. Now, imagine your future self, walking confidently, understanding movies easily, speaking with clear rhythm. That person is not someone else. That person is you, built through these daily moments. Every small English habit is like a brick, and one day, those bricks will become a strong house called fluency. Let me tell you another short story. There was a girl named Sophia. She loved music, but her English was weak. One day, she decided to learn one English song completely. She listened every day, read the lyrics, and sang along quietly. At first, she couldn't follow the rhythm. But after 2 weeks, she could sing the whole song clearly. When she came to class, her pronunciation had improved, not because she studied phonetics, but because she had felt English through music. That's the power of emotional learning. So, what can you do right now? Pick one small English habit. Just one. It could be listening to a short English video every morning, writing 2 sentences before bed, or speaking to yourself for 5 minutes a day. Don't try to do everything. Start small, but stay consistent. Here's a line I always tell my students: fluency doesn't come from intensity, it comes from consistency. If you learn one word deeply, if you repeat one sentence until it feels natural, that's better than learning 10 new words you forget tomorrow. You don't need to rush. English will come to you if you invite it every day, even for a few minutes. So, let's make a promise together. From today, English is not something far away. It's part of your morning, your walk, your laughter, your thoughts. Every time you say a sentence in English, even a small one, you are walking closer to fluency. You are not just learning English. You are building a new rhythm in your life. You are training your brain to move in 2 languages. You are opening doors to new people, new stories, new dreams. And the best part? You can start right now. You don't need to wait for the perfect day or the perfect teacher. You have everything you need: your voice, your ears, your curiosity. Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. You're sitting in a cafe. You hear people around you talking in English. Someone laughs, someone orders coffee, someone says, "Oh, I totally understand." You listen and realize you don't need to translate every word anymore. You just get it. You smile quietly because something inside you feels different. English doesn't feel like a school subject anymore. It feels like a part of you. That moment, when English starts to live inside your mind, is when you begin to think in English. Thinking in English doesn't mean forgetting your first language. It means allowing your thoughts to flow naturally without needing to stop and translate every single time. It's about creating direct connections between your ideas and English words. It's about training your brain to feel the language. At the beginning, most learners think in their native language first and then translate into English. For example, they think, "I am hungry" in their language and then find the English words. That's normal at first, but it's slow. It creates a small wall between your thoughts and your speech. To become fluent, we need to gently break that wall, not by force, but by habit. So, how do you start thinking in English? You begin small, with words, then phrases, then thoughts. For example, when you wake up, don't say, "What's the word for breakfast in English?" Instead, just say breakfast. Look at the food and think eggs, bread, coffee. You don't need full sentences at first. Just simple thoughts. Slowly, your brain begins to link these words directly to the objects, not to translations. Here's a simple daily practice I give to my students. For 5 minutes every day, describe what you're doing in English quietly in your head or out loud if you can. For example, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm putting on my shoes. I'm walking to the bus stop. It's raining. These small sentences may look simple, but they train your brain to form English thoughts naturally. When I first taught this method to one of my students, a young man named Rafi, he said, at first, it felt strange. My brain kept translating everything. But after a few weeks, he told me something beautiful. He said, I was walking to work, and suddenly I realized I was thinking in English without trying. It just happened. That's the magic of habit, slow, invisible progress that suddenly becomes visible one day. Now, there's another way to train your English thinking muscle, visualization. Close your eyes and imagine a simple scene. You're at the beach. You feel the wind. You hear the waves. In your mind, start describing everything in English. The sea is blue. The waves are strong. The sand feels warm. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Just describe. You are teaching your brain to connect English with images and feelings, not translation. You can do this with anything: your room, your favorite park, your dream place, even a memory. When English becomes the language of your imagination, fluency grows faster than you can imagine. Here's a secret about fluency that few people talk about: your inner voice matters. We all have that small voice in our mind that talks all day, when we walk, when we think, when we plan, when we worry. Usually, that voice speaks in our first language. But what if, slowly, you start changing that voice into English? You don't have to change everything, just a few sentences a day. For example, instead of thinking, I need to buy milk, try thinking, I need to buy milk in English. Instead of, I'm late, think, I'm late. These small switches build powerful connections in your brain. The more your inner voice speaks in English, the faster you'll become fluent, because your brain will start producing English automatically, not by translation, but by emotion. Now, let's talk about an important part of thinking in English: accepting silence. Many learners get nervous when they don't know a word. They stop. They freeze. They try to translate. But silence is okay. Even native speakers pause when they speak. The key is not to panic. If you forget a word, describe it instead. For example, if you forget the word umbrella, you can say, the thing we use when it rains. That's natural English thinking, using ideas instead of translation. And that's what fluent people do all the time. Another beautiful way to train your English thinking is through storytelling. Every day, try to tell yourself a small story in English. It doesn't have to be real. It can be about your day or something you imagine. For example, yesterday I met an old friend. We talked about our childhood. It was nice. Or something creative. One day I want to travel to Canada. I will see the snow. I will drink hot coffee. These small stories make your brain comfortable forming longer thoughts in English. And when you do this often, you'll notice something interesting: your emotions will start speaking English too. When you're happy, you'll think, I'm so happy. When you're tired, you'll sigh and think, I need a break. You'll stop translating feelings. You'll live them in English. That's real fluency. Let's go back to another one of my students, Hannah. She once told me, when I'm in English class, I think in English. But when I leave, I switch back. I told her, that's normal, but we can train your brain to stay in English longer. We made a small plan. After every class, she would walk home and describe everything around her in English: the cars, the people, the sky, her thoughts. After 2 weeks, she said, it's working. My brain is slower to switch back. That's what you want, not perfection. but longer and longer English thinking moments. Here's something important. Thinking in English isn't only about words. It's also about feeling the rhythm. English has a music, a heartbeat. When you listen carefully, you'll notice that English speakers don't speak word by word. They speak in groups, in rhythm. For example, they don't say, I want to go home. They say, I want to go home. The sound flows together. So when you think in English, try to feel that rhythm too. Don't think robotically. Think in sound, in emotion. That's what makes your English feel alive. Sometimes, you'll catch yourself thinking in your native language again. That's fine. Don't fight it. Just smile and switch back gently. Fluency is not a battle, it's a dance. You move forward, step back, and forward again. The key is to stay gentle with yourself. Now, let's do a small exercise together. Imagine you're walking into a coffee shop. You hear English music. You see the menu. You say in your mind, I want a small latte, please. You give the money. The person smiles and says, thank you. You answer, you're welcome. As you imagine this scene, your mind is living in English. That's mental practice, and it's just as powerful as real speaking. Do this often. When you're waiting in line, imagine a small conversation in English. When you're alone, describe what's around you. When you're thinking about tomorrow, think in English about your plans. Bit by bit, you'll stop studying English and start being in English. Here's a simple truth I want you to remember. You don't learn to think in English by force. You grow into it naturally by using it daily. So be patient with yourself. Fluency is like sunrise, it doesn't happen suddenly. The light grows little by little, and before you know it, the world looks brighter. And one day, when you least expect it, you'll notice your thoughts are no longer in your old language. You're thinking in English, smiling in English, dreaming in English. And when that day comes, you'll realize how far you've come, not just as a learner, but as someone who has built a second voice, a second world. So from now on, don't ask, how do I translate this? Instead, ask, how do I feel this in English? Feel the word. Feel the sound. Feel the emotion. Because fluency is not about grammar, it's about connection. Do you remember the first time you tried to speak English with someone? Maybe your heart was beating fast. Maybe your hands were a little cold. You opened your mouth, but the words didn't come easily. You felt nervous, afraid of making mistakes, afraid that people might laugh or not understand. That moment, that fear, is something almost every English learner in the world has felt. And yet, that fear is not your enemy. It's your signal. It means you care. It means you're trying. It means you're growing. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build, brick by brick, word by word, conversation by conversation. Every time you speak English, even if you make a mistake, you are building confidence. The more you speak, the stronger that confidence. Let's start with this truth. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. You don't have to sound perfect. You just have to be understood. The goal is communication, not perfection. When you understand that, a huge weight disappears from your shoulders. You realize you don't have to speak like someone else. You just have to speak like you in English. I remember one of my students, Lena. She was an intelligent young woman, but every time she had to speak English, she froze. She once told me, "My English is not good enough." I smiled and asked, "Good enough for what?" She thought for a moment and said, "To talk like native speakers." I said gently, "You don't need to talk like them. You just need to talk to them." That one small change in thinking changed everything for her. When she stopped trying to sound perfect and started focusing on connection, her English started to flow. She laughed more. She made small mistakes, yes, but she also made friends, real connections, real conversations. That's confidence, not the absence of mistakes, but the presence of courage. So, if you want to speak English confidently, here's the first step. Change your inner story. Stop saying, I'm bad at English. Start saying, I'm improving every day. Your words matter, especially the words you say to yourself. Confidence begins inside, long before you speak a word out loud. The second step is to speak even when you're afraid. Fear doesn't go away by waiting. It goes away by action. Think of it like swimming. You can't learn by standing on the edge of the pool. You have to step into the water. At first, it's cold. You feel uncomfortable. But after a few minutes, your body adjusts. The same is true with speaking English. Start small. Say hello to a new person. Ask a simple question. Leave a small comment on an English video. Order food in English if you can. Every small moment counts. Every small word builds your confidence muscle. There's a beautiful saying, do it scared. It means you don't have to wait until you feel ready. You grow ready by doing it scared. Now let's talk about what happens in your body when you feel nervous. When you speak English and feel afraid, your heart beats faster, your mind runs, your mouth feels dry. That's your body's way of saying, I care about this moment. So instead of fighting that feeling, welcome it. Take a deep breath. Smile, even if it feels forced. That smile tells your brain, I'm safe. And slowly, your fear will soften. Sometimes, people worry about their accent. They say, my accent is not good. But let me tell you a secret, your accent is part of your story. It shows where you come from. It's your identity, your music. You don't have to erase it. You just have to speak clearly and confidently. People remember your kindness, your message, your passion, not your accent. Think about this. English is a global language. People speak it with thousands of accents: British, American, Indian, African, Filipino, European, and all of them are beautiful. So why should your accent be a problem? It's not. It's a sign that you speak more than one language. That's something to be proud of. Confidence also grows from preparation. Before you speak, prepare small sentences you can use often. For example, sorry, could you say that again, please? I'm not sure, but I think. That's interesting. These short, natural phrases help you feel ready. They're your tools, your safety net. When you know what to say in common situations, your brain feels calmer. Here's another trick. Record yourself speaking. Yes, I know it feels strange at first, but it's one of the best ways to grow. When you listen to your own voice, you'll notice things, maybe your pronunciation, your tone, your speed. And you'll realize something important. You sound better than you think. I remember a student named Carlos. The first time he heard his recorded voice, he laughed and said, I sound terrible. But after a few weeks of practice, he listened again and said, wait, I've improved. He could hear the progress that he couldn't feel before. That's the magic of small steps. You don't always see it daily, but it's happening quietly. Here's something else to remember. Confidence doesn't mean speaking loudly. It means speaking clearly and calmly. You can speak softly and still be powerful. You can pause, think, and still be fluent. Confidence is not about speed, it's about comfort. It's about feeling at home in your own voice. When you speak, look into people's eyes. Take your time. Let your words come slowly. Use your hands. Smile. These small actions send a message to others and to yourself that you are confident. Sometimes, when you forget a word or make a mistake, don't panic. Just keep talking. Use another word. Laugh it off. Most listeners don't even notice your small errors. What they notice is your attitude. When you stay relaxed, they feel relaxed too. Let's imagine a small scene together. You're in a cafe and someone next to you starts a conversation in English. You feel nervous, but you remember what we talked about. You take a deep breath. You smile. You say, hi, how are you? They smile back. You feel your heart racing, but you keep going. You ask, do you come here often? The conversation starts flowing. You make one small mistake, but you keep talking. And suddenly, you realize you're doing it. You're speaking in English. The fear didn't disappear, but you spoke through it. That's what confidence looks like. Remember this. Fear is not a stop sign. It's just a sign that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Every time you do that, your comfort zone gets bigger. So don't wait until you feel fearless. Speak now. Speak imperfectly. Speak bravely. Because confidence doesn't come first, speaking does. Confidence follows you when you move. Here's a little secret about confident speakers. They are not always sure. They just act as if they are. They smile, they breathe, they speak slowly. They don't focus on mistakes, they focus on connection. And the more they do it, the more natural it becomes. Think of your favorite English speaker. Do they sound perfect? Probably not. What makes them interesting is their energy, their rhythm, their honesty. That's what you should aim for, not perfection, but presence. When you speak with confidence, people don't just hear your words, they feel your message. They feel your courage. They feel your desire to connect. That's the beauty of language. It's not just about grammar. It's about sharing yourself. And here's the most beautiful truth of all. Every time you speak English, even with fear, you're winning. You're doing something brave that many people never try. You're stepping into a new world, one word at a time. So from now on, whenever you feel nervous, tell yourself, this is not fear. This is growth. Then breathe, smile, and speak. Because confidence is not waiting for you somewhere in the future. It's right here, in this moment, waiting for you to open your mouth and begin. Have you ever noticed how some people can make a simple conversation feel warm, natural, and easy? They don't use difficult words. They don't rush. They just talk, and everything feels smooth, friendly, and real. That is the art of connection. And if you want to become fluent in English, this is the key skill you need to learn: how to have real conversations. Fluency isn't about speaking fast. It's about flowing naturally, like a river, not like a machine. It's not just words, it's rhythm, emotion, curiosity, and care. So, let's begin. Imagine this. You're sitting on a park bench. A stranger sits beside you. They smile and say, "Beautiful day, isn't it?" What do you say next? You could just answer, "Yes, it is." But the conversation would end there. Or you could add something more, like, "Yes, I love days like this." The sunshine makes everything feel better. Now you've opened a door. You've given the other person a reason to reply. That's the secret to real conversations. You build them like a game of catch. You throw the ball, they catch it, and they throw it back. If you just say yes or no, the ball drops. But if you give a little extra, an opinion, a feeling, a question, the ball keeps moving, and so does the conversation. Many learners worry about what to say next. But real conversations aren't planned. They are alive. They grow naturally when you listen carefully and respond with curiosity. The more you listen, the easier it becomes to know what to say next. Let's take a simple example. Someone asks you, "How are you today?" Most people answer, "I'm fine, thank you." That's okay, but it's not enough if you want to keep the talk going. You could say, "I'm fine, thank you. I've just started learning English again, and I'm really enjoying it." That one small detail gives the other person something to talk about. They might say, "Oh, really? How are you learning?" And just like that, you're having a real conversation. Fluency lives inside those small, natural moments when you share, ask, and connect. It's not about perfect grammar. It's about rhythm, listening, and feeling. Let me tell you a story about one of my students, Armin. When we first met, he could speak English quite well, but his conversations always ended quickly. He answered perfectly, but too shortly. So I told him, "Armin, imagine that every answer you give should open a door, not close it." He smiled, and I could see he understood. A few weeks later, he came back and said, "Teacher, I did it. I spoke with a tourist in the train. We talked for 10 minutes. I asked, 'How did you do that?' He said, 'I stopped giving short answers. I started sharing a little story each time.'" That's the power of connection. People don't remember your vocabulary. They remember how you made them feel. Here's another important skill: asking questions. When you ask questions, you show that you care. You make people feel seen and heard. But don't ask too many questions like a robot. Mix questions with comments. For example, where are you from? Oh, that's interesting. I've always wanted to visit that place. Do you like movies? Me too. I watched a really funny one last week. This rhythm, question, comment, share makes conversations flow naturally. Sometimes, people think that being fluent means speaking a lot. But actually, fluent people are great listeners. They pay attention. They notice details, the sound of the voice, the smile, the emotion. They respond to what they hear, not just what they expect. You can practice this skill anywhere, even when you're alone. Listen to English podcasts, YouTube videos, or movies. Pause and ask yourself, what would I say if I were in that conversation? You can even talk back to the screen. Yes, really. If a character says, I had a bad day, you can say aloud, oh no, what happened? This kind of shadow conversation helps your brain think faster in English. Another great exercise is called echo practice. When you hear a sentence, repeat it immediately with the same tone and feeling. For example, if someone says, that's amazing, you repeat, that's amazing. Try to sound like them, copy their rhythm, their emotion. This helps you learn not just what to say, but how to say it naturally. Now let's talk about one of the biggest problems in real conversations, silence. Many learners are afraid of silence. They think, oh no, I must say something. But silence is not always bad. Sometimes, a short pause shows that you're thinking. It shows respect. It makes your words sound more natural. Don't rush to fill every second. Take your time. Smile. Breathe. Then speak. You can also use simple fillers, natural small sounds that give you a second to think. For example, well, let me see. That's a good question. I'm not sure, but I think native speakers use these all the time. They make your speech sound more real and confident. Let's imagine another small scene. You're in a small shop and the cashier asks, how's your day going? You smile and say, it's going well, thank you. I've been busy, but I'm happy to be here. The cashier replies, that's good to hear. You continue, yeah, sometimes it feels like there's never enough time, right? The cashier laughs and says, exactly. That small, friendly talk might last only a minute, but it's real communication. That's what fluency feels like, easy, light, connected. Now, let's talk about the feeling behind your words. Every language has a rhythm, and English has its own. English moves like music, short, strong beats. You can feel it in phrases like, how are you, or what do you think? When you practice listening carefully, you start to catch that rhythm. When you speak with rhythm, people understand you more easily, and your words sound more natural. Try this. Listen to a short clip of a native speaker and repeat not just their words, but their energy. Notice where they pause, how their voice rises or falls. This kind of shadowing helps you build conversational flow, the heartbeat of fluency. Sometimes, people think conversations must be serious or formal. But most English conversations are casual, soft, playful. You can use small expressions like, that's awesome. No way. Really? Wow, I didn't know that. These make your speech sound friendly and alive. Don't be afraid to use your face and hands, too. Smile, nod, show emotion. Communication is not just words, it's movement, energy, connection. Sometimes, people think conversations must be serious or formal. But most English conversations are casual, soft, playful. You can use small expressions like, that's awesome. No way. Really? Wow, I didn't know that. These make your speech sound friendly and alive. Don't be afraid to use your face and hands, too. Smile, nod, show emotion. Communication is not just words, it's movement, energy, connection. And remember this, every good conversation has two gifts, one for the other person and one for you. When you speak, You give your time and your attention. When you listen, you receive new ideas, new stories, new ways of seeing the world. That's why real fluency is not just about words. It's about empathy, feeling what the other person feels. I once asked a fluent speaker what helped her most to improve. She said, "I stopped studying English and I started living in English." That means using English for real life, not just for lessons. Write your diary in English. Watch your favorite shows in English. Think in English when you're walking or cooking. Talk to yourself in English about your day. These small daily habits build the foundation for real conversations. Here's a powerful idea. When you learn to speak English naturally, you're not just learning a language, you're learning a way of connecting with the world. You can make friends from different countries, learn new cultures, and share your story with people you'd never meet otherwise. Every word you speak is a bridge. So the next time you talk in English, don't focus on being perfect. Focus on being present. Listen. Smile. Ask. Share. Respond. Let your words carry warmth and honesty. Because real fluency isn't about talking at people, it's about talking with them. Before we move on, take a deep breath. Think about how far you've come. From learning small words to understanding big ideas, from fear to confidence, from silence to real conversation. You are no longer just learning English, you are living it. Let's imagine something for a moment. You wake up in the morning and, before you open your eyes, a thought appears in your mind. I'm still sleepy. But this time, you don't think it in your native language. You think it in English, I'm still sleepy. Then, as you get ready, you say to yourself, I need to brush my teeth. Where's my phone? What should I eat? All of it in English. Without effort. Without translation. That's what it means to think in English. When you reach this stage, your English becomes a part of you. The words flow naturally. You don't stop to translate. You don't search for grammar rules in your mind. You just speak, listen, and respond, like breathing. But how do we get there? How can you train your brain to think in English naturally? First, let's understand why most learners struggle with this. When you learn English in school, you often learn through translation. You learn a word in your native language, then you find its English version. For example, you think of or agua or wasser, and then you say water. That's okay at the beginning, but it slows you down when you try to speak. Because your brain must travel through two languages before saying one word. Thinking in English means skipping that step. It means your mind connects ideas directly to English words. Instead of thinking equals water, you simply see water and think water. The connection becomes instant. But that doesn't happen automatically. It grows slowly, like a plant, and you have to water it every day. Let's start with small daily habits that train your brain to switch to English naturally. When you wake up, talk to yourself in English. You can say simple things. Good morning. I'm so tired. I have to get ready for work. Even short sentences like these help your brain wake up in English. When you look around your room, name what you see: window, curtain, chair, table, laptop. This simple exercise helps your mind connect words with real things, not translations. Now, try thinking in English during small moments of your day, while walking, cooking, or cleaning. Talk to yourself about what you're doing. I'm cutting vegetables. The water is boiling. I need more salt. You're not just practicing grammar, you're building real fluency, because you're teaching your brain to use English automatically in real life. Here's another trick. Make English your background sound. Listen to English podcasts, short stories, or YouTube videos every day, even when you don't understand everything. You don't need to listen carefully all the time. Sometimes, just letting English play in the background helps your brain absorb rhythm and structure. Remember how babies learn their first language. They don't start with grammar books or translations. They listen. They hear words again and again, in real situations, until their brain understands the patterns. You can do the same. Now, you might ask, but what if I don't know the words for everything? That's okay. You don't need to know every word. When you don't know something, use simple ones. For example, if you don't know the word microwave, you can say, the machine for heating food. You're still communicating in English, and your brain is learning how to describe ideas naturally. The key is not to stop. Keep going. Don't wait for the perfect word. Use what you know. English grows through use. Sometimes, you'll find that your mind automatically switches back to your native language. That's normal. When that happens, don't get upset. Just gently bring it back to English. You can even say to yourself, okay, English mode now. It's like turning on a small switch in your brain. Now, let's talk about how to train your inner voice. Everyone has an inner voice, the voice you use when you think or talk silently to yourself. When you start using that voice in English, your fluency grows faster than ever. Here's a fun exercise. Imagine you are explaining something simple in English, like how to make tea or how to go to your favorite place. You can do it quietly in your mind or say it softly. For example, first, I boil some water. Then, I put the tea bag in the cup. I pour the hot water and wait for a few minutes. Simple, right? But that's real practice. You're training your mind to build thoughts in English order. Another great method is what I call the English mirror. Stand in front of a mirror and speak to yourself in English for 5 minutes. Talk about your day, your plans, or your feelings. Look at your face. Watch how your mouth moves. Notice your expressions. This exercise builds two things, fluency and confidence. You see yourself as a speaker of English, not a learner, but a speaker. When you talk to yourself like this, your brain starts to believe, yes, I can do this. Let's talk about mistakes again, because they are part of this process too. When you think in English, you'll make small errors. You might use the wrong tense or forget an article. But don't worry. That's how fluency grows. The goal is not perfection, it's flow. The more you think and speak in English, the fewer mistakes you'll make naturally. Sometimes it helps to label your environment in English. For example, you can put small sticky notes on things around your home, door, mirror, fridge, clock. Every time you see them, your mind reads and remembers them automatically. Slowly, those words become part of your thinking world. You can also change the language settings on your phone or social media to English. It may feel confusing at first, but it's an amazing way to make English part of your daily environment. When you live inside English, your brain learns faster. Now, here's something interesting about how the brain works. When you connect language with emotion, your memory becomes stronger. So, don't just learn words, feel them. If you learn the word happy, imagine a time you were really happy. Feel it. If you learn cold, remember the feeling of a cold morning. Your brain connects emotion and language together, making it easier to remember and use later. One of my students, Sarah, started a Thinking in English diary. Every day, she wrote short sentences about her thoughts, not long essays, just her real feelings in English. Sometimes it was, I feel tired today. Other days, I saw a cute dog in the park. After 2 months, she told me, teacher, something strange happened. I started to think in English without trying. That's how natural fluency grows, slowly, quietly, through small daily habits. Another powerful method is storytelling. When you think or speak in English, tell small stories about your day, your memories, or your dreams. For example, yesterday I met my old friend. We talked for hours. It felt so good. Stories help your brain connect grammar, vocabulary, and emotion together in one smooth flow. That's how native speakers think in stories, not in grammar rules. Here's a small challenge for you. For one day, try to stay in English mode as long as you can. From morning to night, try to think, talk, or even dream in English. When you forget or switch back, gently return. You'll be surprised at how much your brain adapts. There's a beautiful truth about language learning. The more you use it, the easier it becomes. Your brain starts building stronger and faster connections, like building roads. At first, the road is narrow and bumpy. But every time you think or speak in English, that road gets smoother. Eventually, it becomes a highway. Words travel quickly, ideas move easily, and your speech becomes natural. Thinking in English also changes how you see the world. You start to notice small details, new ways of describing things. For example, in English, people often say, "It feels like home," or "That's interesting." These are small, emotional ways of expressing yourself. When you think in English, you start to feel those expressions, not just understand them. Remember, you don't have to think in English all the time. Start small. Begin with 5 minutes a day, then 10, then 20. The goal is progress, not pressure. And always remind yourself why you're doing this: to connect, to express, to grow. Because English is not just a language you study. It's a doorway to new ideas, people, and opportunities. So, whenever your mind wants to switch back to your first language, smile and say softly, "Let's stay in English for a little longer." That gentle decision, repeated again and again, is how fluency is born. Thinking in English is like building a small world inside your mind, a world where your thoughts move freely, your words have rhythm, and your ideas come alive. So keep going. Talk to yourself. Think out loud. Write in English. Dream in English if you can. Bit by bit, you'll notice something magical. English will stop feeling like a foreign language. It will start feeling like a part of you. Fluency doesn't arrive suddenly one day, like magic. It grows quietly, slowly, like morning sunlight spreading through the sky. Every day, it gets a little brighter. Every day, your English becomes a little stronger. That's what we call lifelong fluency, the kind of fluency that stays with you forever. The truth is, it's not about studying more. It's about building the right habits. Small, simple, daily actions that make English a natural part of your life. So, let's talk about those habits, the small steps that create big change. When people ask me, "How can I keep improving my English every day?" I always say, make English your friend, not your subject. Don't treat it like homework. Treat it like something you enjoy, something that lives with you in your phone, in your thoughts, in your free time. Let's start with the simplest habit, listening every day. Even 10 minutes of English audio can change your fluency over time. Listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, or short news clips. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Your brain is still learning. It's picking up rhythm, pronunciation, and word patterns. Here's a small exercise. Choose one short English clip every day, something fun, not boring. Listen to it once without subtitles. Just try to feel the meaning. Then listen again with subtitles. Then one more time without. This 3-step habit trains your ears to hear English more clearly. Another important habit is reading small things in English. You don't need big books or complicated articles. Start with short paragraphs, simple stories, or social media posts. Reading improves your vocabulary naturally. And when you see words in sentences, you understand how they live in the language, not just what they mean. Try this. Before sleeping, read one short English story. It could be a paragraph or even a quote. Think about it. Feel it. Let your brain fall asleep with English in your mind. It's a peaceful way to learn. Now, let's talk about speaking practice. You don't always need a partner to practice speaking. You can speak alone to yourself, to your mirror, to your phone. Tell yourself stories about your day. Describe what you see. Explain what you feel. If you want to make it more fun, record yourself for 1 minute a day. Talk about anything, what you did today, what you plan to do tomorrow, what you love or fear. After a week, listen to your recordings. You'll start to notice small improvements, your pronunciation, your flow, your comfort. It's an amazing feeling to hear your own progress. Sometimes, you'll have busy days when you don't have time to study. That's okay. Even on those days, you can stay connected to English. Listen while cooking. Think in English while walking. Read a few English words on your phone. These small touches keep your brain active and growing. There's another powerful habit: writing short reflections. Every night, write 2 or 3 sentences about your day in English. For example, today was busy but good. I finished my work early. I watched an English video before dinner. That's it. Simple, honest, and effective. Writing helps you remember new words, practice sentence structure, and express your thoughts clearly. If you do this every day, your writing and thinking will slowly become one. Your thoughts will start to form naturally in English. Now, let's talk about another beautiful habit: shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a speaker and repeating exactly what they say at the same time, like a shadow. Choose a short video, pause it after every line, and copy the tone, the rhythm, the feeling. It's not just about pronunciation, it's about feeling the language. When you shadow regularly, your speaking becomes smooth and natural, almost like music. You can also turn your hobbies into English practice. If you love cooking, watch recipes in English. If you enjoy gaming, join English-speaking players. If you like movies, watch them in English with subtitles. When English connects with your interests, it stops feeling like study. It starts feeling like fun. Here's something to remember: consistency is more powerful than intensity. It's better to practice a little every day than to study a lot once a week. Think of it like watering a plant. If you water it once a month, it dies. But if you give it a little water every day, it grows. Your English is that plant. Now, let's talk about your environment. Surround yourself with English wherever you can. Change your phone or computer language to English. Follow English-speaking pages or people on social media. Read English comments. Watch short English clips between your daily routines. When English is always around you, it starts to feel natural, like the background music of your life. Some learners also find it helpful to keep an English journal of gratitude. Every day, write 3 things you're thankful for in English. For example, I'm thankful for my morning coffee. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for learning something new today. This not only improves your English, but also your mindset. It trains your brain to focus on positivity, and a positive mind learns faster. Let's not forget the power of community. If you can, find a friend or a small group to practice with. You can talk online, exchange messages, or even meet in person. When you speak regularly with others, your confidence grows faster. You don't have to talk perfectly, just talk honestly. If you can't find a partner, that's fine too. You can still feel connected by joining online English forums or chat groups. Comment on videos in English. Ask questions. Share your thoughts. Every word you type or speak builds your language muscle. One of the most helpful habits I've seen among successful learners is reviewing, not repeating. That means going back to old lessons and seeing them with new eyes. When you review something you learned before, your brain connects it with what you know now. It becomes stronger, deeper, and easier to remember. You can also set small goals for yourself, tiny, clear ones. For example, I will learn 5 new words this week. I will listen to 1 short podcast every morning. I will write 1 paragraph each night. Every small goal you reach gives you motivation to keep going. Success grows from small wins, not giant leaps. Here's a secret most people don't realize. The real magic happens when you enjoy the process. When you stop saying, I must learn English, and start saying, I love learning English. That shift changes everything. Because when you love something, you keep doing it, even when it's hard, even when you're tired. If you ever feel stuck, take a short break. Watch a funny English video, listen to a song, or read something inspiring. Learning should never feel like punishment. It should feel like discovery. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Fluency is not a race, it's a journey. Some days you'll move fast, other days you'll walk slowly. But as long as you don't stop, you'll get there. Let's pause for a moment and imagine your future self. You're speaking English easily, naturally. You're having conversations with people from different countries. You're expressing your ideas clearly. You're confident. That version of you exists. It's waiting for you at the end of your habits. Every small thing you do today brings you closer to that future. Every minute you spend listening, speaking, reading, or thinking in English adds up like drops of rain filling a river. Here's a gentle truth. Fluency is not something you find one day. It's something you build every single day through small moments of effort and joy. So from today, promise yourself this. Even if you have only 10 minutes, you'll use them wisely. Listen, read, speak, think. Just one small thing every day. Because English isn't a destination, it's a part of your story now. So here we are, my friend. The final step of our journey. You've learned how to listen deeply, how to speak with confidence, how to build habits that make English a part of your life. But now we come to something even more important, how to keep your motivation alive. Because fluency is not only about language. It's also about your heart. Motivation is like the wind behind your sail. It keeps you moving when the sea is calm, and it gives you strength when the waves are strong. But sometimes, that wind slows down. Sometimes, you feel tired or bored. Sometimes, you wonder, why am I still doing this? That's normal. Every learner feels it. But what matters is how you respond when your motivation drops. The first secret is this. Remember your why. Why did you start learning English? Maybe it's because you want to study abroad. Maybe you want a better job. Maybe you want to travel, make friends, or simply understand the world better. Whatever your reason is, write it down. Say it to yourself often. When your motivation fades, your why will light your way again. You see, learning English isn't just about speaking well. It's about connecting with people, with stories, with ideas, with yourself. Every word you learn is a bridge to another world. That's something beautiful. That's something worth remembering when you feel lost. Another powerful way to stay motivated is to see your progress. Because progress, no matter how small, gives energy. Sometimes, you might think, I'm not improving. But if you look closely, you'll realize how far you've come. You can understand more words now. You can express your thoughts better. You can follow conversations that once confused you. Try this little exercise. Take a notebook and write what you can do in English today. Then, 1 month later, write again. You'll see the difference in your words, in your confidence, in your flow. That's proof that you're growing. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools you can use. Celebration. Yes, celebration. When you finish a video, celebrate. When you speak with someone in English, celebrate. When you learn a new phrase, celebrate. It doesn't matter how small the success is. Every victory deserves recognition. You can say to yourself, well done. I'm proud of me. Because every step you take, every sentence you speak, brings you closer to fluency. The world often teaches us to focus on what we can't do, but real motivation comes from noticing what we can do. There's another truth I want you to remember. You're not behind. Everyone learns at a different speed. Some people learn quickly, others slowly. That's okay. What matters is consistency, not comparison. Never look at someone else's progress and feel small. Look at your own path and feel proud. Your journey is your own. It's unique. You're not just learning English, you're discovering your own rhythm, your own story, your own voice. Let me share something many learners forget. Fluency is not only about words. It's about feeling comfortable in English, comfortable making mistakes, comfortable trying again, comfortable being yourself. True fluency means freedom, the freedom to express, to connect, to dream in another language. So, what do you do when you feel stuck? When you feel like giving up? First, be kind to yourself. Don't say, I'm bad at English. Say, I'm learning. I'm growing. Words have power. Speak to yourself with kindness. Your brain listens. Your heart listens too. Then, change your environment a little. Watch a movie in English that you've already seen in your language. Listen to a song that makes you smile. Talk to a new person online. Sometimes, all it takes is one fresh experience to bring back your energy. Another thing that keeps motivation strong is teaching others. You don't have to be perfect to teach. You can share what you know, maybe help a friend who's just starting, or write a comment online explaining a phrase. When you teach, you realize how much you already know. It builds confidence and purpose. Now, I want you to imagine your future again, but this time, not just a future where you're fluent. Imagine a future where English has changed your life. You're traveling freely, meeting people from around the world. You're reading books, watching shows, understanding everything naturally. You're not afraid to speak anymore. You're free. That future is not a dream. It's a destination waiting for your effort. And every day, every small habit, every bit of courage you show brings it closer. But let's be honest. There will still be days when it feels hard. There will be moments when your tongue feels heavy or your mind feels slow. On those days, remember, it's okay. Progress doesn't disappear because of one bad day. Learning is not a straight line. It's a dance, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, then forward again. Whenever you doubt yourself, think about how you started. The first time you listened to English, maybe it sounded fast and confusing. But now, you're here, listening, understanding, following full sentences, feeling emotions through English. That's real growth. That's power. Fluency is not something you wait for. It's something you create moment by moment, word by word, choice by choice. Every time you choose English, instead of silence, instead of fear, you are becoming fluent. Here's one last secret of motivation. Connect your learning with love. When you love what you learn, you never quit. If you love stories, learn through stories. If you love movies, learn through movies. If you love music, learn through lyrics. Love makes language alive. And remember, it's okay to rest. Rest is part of learning. When you take a break, your brain processes what you've learned. So, never feel guilty for resting. Just promise yourself to come back, even for 5 minutes. At this point, your English journey is not just about speaking well. It's about becoming the kind of person who keeps growing, patient, curious, confident. Someone who doesn't stop at good enough. Someone who wants to keep learning for life. So, as we close this lesson, take a deep breath. You've walked a long path today, from fear to confidence, from confusion to clarity, from studying to living English. And this is not the end. This is just another beginning. From now on, whenever you speak English, speak with pride. Speak with heart. Speak with curiosity. Don't aim to be perfect, aim to be real. Remember the voice you've listened to throughout this journey, calm, friendly, patient. Let that voice become your own inner guide. When you make mistakes, let it whisper, it's okay, keep going. When you feel shy, let it remind you, your voice matters. And when you finally realize that you no longer translate in your head, that English feels natural, that you understand stories, jokes, emotions, that's when you'll know you're fluent. But even then, don't stop learning. Because fluency is not the end of the road. It's the start of a new one, a road of expression, creativity, and endless connection. So, here's my final message to you. Keep going, even when it's hard. Keep believing, even when you doubt. Keep speaking, even when you feel shy. Every word you say in English is a victory. Every step you take brings you closer to the world. You are not just learning English. You are building courage. You are building connection. You are building a new version of yourself, one that can listen deeply, speak freely, and dream boldly. So, keep listening. Keep speaking. Keep smiling. Because your English journey has only just begun. And remember, the world is waiting to hear your voice. Thank you so much for joining me today, my dear friend. You've listened, practiced, and imagined. You've learned not just about English, but about patience, growth, and confidence. And I hope, somewhere along this long, gentle journey, you've realized something important. Fluency isn't about speed or perfection or memorizing endless grammar rules. It's about connection. It's about expression. It's about being brave enough to speak, even when you're not sure of every word. Every minute you spend listening, every word you speak, every mistake you make, they're all part of your story. And I'm proud of you for taking this step, for staying with me till the end. Remember, this is not a finish line. It's a beginning, a new chapter in your life where English becomes your voice, your friend, your bridge to the world. So keep going. Keep learning. Keep speaking slowly, calmly, confidently. Your voice is beautiful, and the world needs to hear it. If this lesson helped you, take a moment to breathe, smile, and whisper to yourself, "I'm improving." Because you are more than you think. And if you'd like to keep growing with me, don't forget to subscribe to Mr. English Lab. Together, we'll keep building your English, one simple, beautiful story at a time. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself, keep your heart open, and I'll see you in the next lesson.